So, over a year ago, we made this video with 5 Points Vids called 20 Reasons to Hate the NFL. When sitting down to record it, I thought I had valid reasons, a better mic than I actually did, and a pretty low-key video. And to our surprise, it's still getting views and controversy to this day. We decided that with how big that video's grown to be, coupled with the fact that I think it's pretty obvious I could have handled the topic better, I should analyze the video a little bit and update it. Assuming you saw the original, you should have gotten the vibe that I meant what I said. I was genuinely angry recording it. Going back to rewatch the video felt weird seeing myself like that because I don't think I've been at that level before or since. What's crazy is we released that video an hour after the first gigantic wave of Anthem kneeling protests began. And that wasn't planned, it just happened to work out that way. So a large chunk of the comments evolved into people being horrified that I didn't mention that, which is still a frequent critique of the video to this day. Well, I'm sorry everyone who says that in the comments, that wasn't a huge thing when we made the video. It's like criticizing me for eating cookies instead of ice cream, but we hadn't bought any ice cream yet. Because you know I'm eating ice cream if we have ice cream. The other thing that would have made the list now if I made it today would be the roughing the passer thing that happened earlier in the year. The best way I'll explain that situation to the younger kids who may not have gotten what was going on will be like this. Originally, in Fortnite, you could shoot your teammates, and if you did it too much, you can get banned. Picture getting banned from accidentally shooting your teammate with a 6 damage pump shotgun. Are you kidding me, Ref? Let's move on to some of the more critiqued points I made in the original video that I think I should revisit. I made the point that David Johnson being the top player in fantasy was a bad thing for the NFL, further elaborating to say that it meant the talent pool was weaker, and I'll admit that was a reach. While David Johnson still isn't the monster he was hyped to be at that time, he's still good. And there are a lot of beasts in football right now. So yeah, I take that general point back for sure. I talked about tanking for a second, and I think I have to address something with it. I took the position earlier of that you shouldn't question why your team is trying to win when they're 1-12. Now I think I should make this clear. Tanking is such a gray area. If your goal is to get killed every time with no genuine plan to turn it into something, that's unfair to the people who pay to watch your games. I wouldn't necessarily be against the idea of there being repercussions against a team if it can be definitively proved that they were tanking, but I understand it at the same time. It's worked for other teams, and honestly, I'd consider not including the point at all if I made the list today. But like I said, it's an extremely gray area, and it's really difficult to form a concrete opinion on. Although teams like the Raiders really hurt this discussion because I can't tell if they're tanking or just kind of incompetent. I then made a point about the Ezekiel Elliott suspension debacle, and I was half right and half wrong about it. I was right about how his suspension kept getting flip-flopped, and it was so dumb that depending on what week it was, you had to keep Googling whether or not he was allowed to play. Because if you don't remember or weren't aware, they were kind of weird about his suspension in that they kind of overturned it and reinstated it over and over again. And it wasn't like, oh, he missed 6 games and it was 6 games in a row. But I was eventually proven wrong about how it's viewed by teams with the recent Kareem Hunt scandal that took place. Good to know the NFL now has something resembling a code, even if it's a work in progress. Other than those, I basically stand by the rest of what I said. I made points about the league's weird views on marijuana, especially relative to other offenses. I talked about how the NFL had suppressed player individuality, wasted a month of fans' time and money with the preseason, sees the same quarterbacks in the Super Bowl representing the AFC every year. Please, Patrick Mahomes, change that, like, please. And of course, the catch rule disaster, among other things. This is where the video transitioned into 5 Points Vids taking the second half of it. And honestly, most of his points aged well. Definitely admit they aged better than mine. The only one I'm glad to say I personally have seen change in is the fact that the running game was disappearing. Thankfully, guys like Todd Gurley, Alvin Kamara, and ouch, have helped running backs become intangible assets to winning offenses. Although you can't fight that we need more fullback usage. Come on. We all know the last fullback you rooted for was Tom Adamo of the UGF Pandas. Other than that, the only thing that's really changed since the release of this video is the NFL memes, because I haven't seen them since.
Wild card memes, and here they are. Frigid temps expected in Green Bay tomorrow, but when you're so hot, the temperature does not matter.
Good job, NBC, learning from your mistake. All in all, I still think a good portion of the core points we made in that video haven't really changed. I think the problem wasn't really the content, it was my delivery. My mannerisms and personality in that video were pretty annoying. It wasn't a jolly old time for me going back to watch my abrasive demeanor that in hindsight was a really poor way of presenting the topics. But I still think that the NFL is an imperfect league. Since I released that video, the XFL announced it was coming back. That should say something about the status of the NFL. Oh, and college football is still really as exciting, if not more exciting than the NFL, but we'll save that topic for the future. Thank you for watching and going down this rather awkward piece of memory lane with me. You guys have been really vocal about your distaste for the video, and I thought it was only fair that I discussed it in hindsight and amended the most noteworthy problems of the video. Except for the carrot that I recorded the video with, that was a really bad microphone choice, and I can't fix that. One more thing before I go, I'd like to direct your attention to the description of this video. There are links to our social medias and hats, however the hats may have ran out by the time you're seeing this, so feel free to DM us on Twitter if you're interested in purchasing one, and we can let you know if they're still in stock. And we've also provided links to our SRS Discord server and the Sports Heaven server. The difference between the two is one is a smaller SRS fans, friends, and members server, where you can talk to SRS personnel more directly and more of the topics we discuss in our video amongst people more associated with the channel. And the other is a more expansive server connecting many different types of sports fans and some of the YouTubers in that server who may drop by, because there are plenty of YouTubers in that one. That server is also run by a good friend of ours named Highlight Heaven. So yeah, I definitely recommend joining both of those servers if you enjoy talking sports. Anyways, thanks again. See you next time.
I call the shots, I run the balls, I'm Michael Jordan. Hit it with a little bit of push and a little bit of pull when the goddamn mic recorded. I bring the heat, I rep the east, I'm like the south. I don't even know what to do with the gold that I get, bitch. I'm Michael Phelps. I'm like LeBron, I get the gold, I'm Sherry Khan. Yo, carry bronze, I'm Randy Moss, I'm Harry Khan. My game on Royce, I'm Barry Bonds.